Very interesting, all I can say. But here we are. Third time's a charm. I love my mug. It says Holy Grounds. But I do have to say, because it's so big, it looks like I don't get any coffee. Every day, I start my day with Holy Grounds. So these cards have been shuffled several times. We've got Orca wanting to come out with the laptop and the phone on his face. This came from a story where a lady dropped her phone into the ocean, and Orca was curious about it and brought it back up to the surface. Isn't it interesting how they can just balance the smallest little things while they're in movement? Considering I mentioned about the coffee, and it's like depending on the size cup that you have, it really does determine the perspective, right? So for one person, this is just a regular cup of coffee, but for another person, it's like there's hardly anything in there, even though it's the same cup and the same amount of ounces. It's still the same. So I don't know what that has to do with Orca, unless it's like it's the same mistake. Maybe the issue or the mistake or what was done doesn't seem like such a big thing to one person, but to somebody else, it's something quite large. Or maybe we can go opposite with that, where someone was thinking that what they were doing was going to be such a great harm to somebody, but to the person they were doing it to, it really wasn't that big of a deal. New card. Okay. Someone's got tricks. Or someone's just plain curious. I'm going to pull these out in groups like I usually do, just because, even though they are shuffled, we've got spirits here. In case you're new, these are cards that I'm in the process of making. So some are going to be fully colored and researched, and some of them are going to be just the word on the card, because the word came to me and I'm like, I don't have time to draw this right now. So we've got spirits, alcoholic beverages. Maybe someone's under the influence. Maybe someone's got some kind of spirit attachment. They say that when you go to bars and clubs, you're very vulnerable or susceptible to bringing home a spirit companion because your resistance is low from the alcohol. And look, we've got a friend here, Robin. This is the sidekick card, the one that's the friend to Batman, right? Batman and Robin. Could also be the sidekick as far as in the spiritual world, where somebody was mad about it and decided that they wanted to have it their own way and do it to prove a point that they were the one who was going to get all the glory. We don't need to mention any names because, we all know that they're just a sidekick. Robin is also the female version of the name Robert. Robert could be under the influence or partaking to something quite often. I know I knew a Robert individual that I actually never came face to face with in meeting that I know about. But every time that I would be on a dating website, he would message and say, hey, I see that you're still looking. We should probably get together and meet each other. Kind of creeped me out, to be quite honest. You know, you get that vibe and you're like, this is not a good vibe. And so over time, when I thought maybe we'd get to know each other online, I came to the point in realization, it's like, you already have that vibe, so why would you consider meeting this person face to face? It just didn't feel, the chemistry wasn't there. It was just off. Anywho, this could have been like a little bird told me, or maybe a little bird came and told somebody something while they had been drinking, or literally someone could have a spirit friend. See how the bird's looking at the alcohol like, I seem to have lost my tail. Someone's lost their behind in some kind of spiritual practice. We've got a rabbit. Rabbit for me is a fast-moving animal. Can pivot on a dime. I don't know why Watership Down came to mind. The destruction of the fields and the lands, and the rabbits had to run for their lives. First word when I saw the card was promiscuous. Fertility. Maybe someone gets a little frisky when they've been drinking and they don't think anyone knows about it. We've got a light switch. We have a light switch. Maybe that's when this promiscuity turns on, when they've been drinking. Again, it could be the attaching spirit, that vulnerability, a lower of resistance, that someone's just not themselves when they have been drinking. Maybe they talk too much when they've been drinking. Chirp, chirp, chirp. Fertile with their words and their information. Maybe this person gets turned on or turned off, depending. And they're finding out that maybe someone they were turned on by they're just turned off by them now. Let's see if I can get these cards just to dump themselves. There we go, but there's no break. I guess I'll do right here since that's the biggest break. We've got the cat with the black eye. That's self-explanatory. I'm going to go right here. Someone's being forced not to say anything. Maybe there was a situation where maybe there was an incident and someone's being forced not to talk about this incident during a night of drinking. We've got the Colon card coming in, a long list of people they've done this to. Or maybe it's coming out again, like that this happened to somebody again after it had already happened to somebody else. And they don't want someone else talking about it because now it seems like a pattern. And maybe they're not willing to even recognize the pattern because it happens when this person's been drinking, and by the time that they're sober, they don't even remember it happening. So there's no way it could have happened. There's just no way. Maybe there's a switch that goes off within them that creates this kind of situation. We've got two cockroaches mating. And it's clearly a situation that somebody doesn't want to pay attention to, consider, acknowledge. They want to leave it in the dark. When I saw the two cockroaches mating on a walk, my mind thought, wow, what have I come across? Are they? Yes, they are. They really are mating right now. And I thought anyone else would probably step on them right now because it's a 2-for-1, right? And yeah, there's a problem there because you see them mating and you see them creating a situation that maybe it's going to make it worse because you know cockroaches make babies. And now there's more babies and more cockroaches, and that's just a infestation waiting to happen. But that's not me. I'm a live and let live person. And I figure if it was time for them to meet their demise, then they'll meet their demise when it was somebody else's hand, not mine. So should the babies make it to term and the exterminators come out, well, that's something that they need to deal with. That's not my job. Yes, I've notified the complex when I see them. So in some regards, I am part of taking, I guess, exterminating the cockroaches, but so maybe in this story, someone is the person who calls the shots on who and what happens to this long list of so-called cockroaches. Maybe they've even referred to these people as cockroaches. Maybe they're thinking since it wasn't at their hand, it was someone else, even though they're the ones that called in the order, that they're free of responsibility of it. But in actuality, it probably wouldn't have happened had the word not been given, right? But just because you don't do the deed doesn't mean that you're not responsible. So there's that. Trying to keep their hands clean. We've got the alpha in a pickle. Assertive. The alpha personality is the assertive one. The alpha is the one that takes control. The alpha is the one that thinks they're calling the shots. They're probably the ones that, you know. This alpha's in a pickle of some sort. You know, more and more I think about the cards that I used to have that I no longer have for whatever reason. I thought it was because I was at the studio of a friend and I thought maybe I lost a couple while I was there. But it seems the more that I do these stories, the more I realize that there are other cards that I've lost other than the ones that I initially thought. Bear with me while I write this down. Whoopsie. It's usually how it happens. It's either on a card or it's in on a notebook, and I was like, why do I keep writing it in a notebook? And then all of a sudden it's like, now I have to go back. It's like another step of wasted time and energy, and I always just have this thought in my mind about wasted time because no one has really time. Time is not guaranteed to anyone. It's like you have either this moment or that's it. This moment is generally the only moment that really matters, right? Your past decisions will always create this moment. And this moment will always create your future decisions or opportunities, depending on what it was that you had decided. So if you put something off and put something off and put something off, well, all those decisions and opportunities, riding on that one decision and opportunity that you just kept putting off, could be missed. Because it's about timing in God's world, in the Most High's world, in the Creator's world. We all have one creator. There's only one creator that made everything that happened. So whatever you call your creator, the other one's just the sidekick, right? They didn't create anything. The sidekick was actually created by the creator. It's like that dysfunctional part of the creator's ego, perhaps, that is just out of hand. It's kind of like when you follow a recipe and every time you do this recipe, there's certain ingredients that kind of get a little bit skewed. Like maybe the flour didn't fall into or settle into the cup the same as the flour you used in the previous recipe. So now you've got a little less flour than you had in the previous recipe, right? So of course that's the same with creating individuals. Yes, they're all made in the image of, but maybe there was just a little bit of the ingredient that was a little bit more or a little bit less than the actual recipe. So when you've got the sidekick being made in the image of, there's just a little bit extra of something that wasn't in the original, and that's why that person was a little bit skewed to the place where they thought they were better than. It's the way they were made. That's why you have doppelgangers, people who kind of look exactly the same as somebody else, but they're not actually that person, obviously. I mean, either they were separated at birth and nobody knew at the time, or maybe if they did a DNA test, they might find out. Or they just look so similar that they look the recipe being duplicated, but there's some kind of differences somewhere else within that individual that makes them not the same as the person that they look identical to. Anywho, I went on a tangent. Where were we? The alpha and their pickle. Or being in a pickle, rather. We've got the soap here, trying to keep their hands clean. I'm going to put that here with the cockroach. Because, yeah, you didn't do the order, but you called for the order to be done. You're just as guilty. And maybe they called for this order to be done while they were under the influence, viewing something that probably they were just curious about. They stumbled across it. Or maybe this person just has that mentality, as I said, that when they drink, a light switch goes off. I know as far as my own personal situation, and I share that in most of my stories because these are cards that I tell stories through. It's like a diary of my artwork, so then it's going to be a diary kind of my experiences, and maybe others will be able to work through theirs that way, and that's how I know that, there's a light switch. Sometimes people do things that they don't want to take responsibility for. I often question myself if maybe my ex had that situation when we had a incident happen. Part of the stuff that went on there, he did not get in trouble for. It seemed that the officers were very focused on just one part of it. Anywho, part of me sometimes questions whether he even remembers what happened. But if that was the case when he was representing himself in court, perhaps he could have used that as some kind of defense. But instead, in his mind, he was just saying, oh, she's not. He was telling the truth. That he was just focused on the fact that maybe I was just coming up with this story and trying to project whatever onto someone else, like they were the problem, instead of just focusing on the fact that maybe they just don't remember what happened. And had they taken the time to even look at themselves and consider the fact that yes, indeed, this person is an honest individual. She's always been an honest individual. Had he just considered the fact that maybe he did do something that he doesn't remember, that could have been a better defense than what he was trying to create. I don't know. But I do know anytime I ever mention anything, for example, the court case had the files online. And I had mentioned once upon a time that they were online. And then when I went back to look for them, they had been removed. And that was pretty recent. So with that being said, there's that. And mind you, this is something that happened about 20 years ago, actually. I think it's actually 20 years ago to the day in the next 3 days. I don't remember exactly what day it happened on. So, and it was recent when he had those, or I shouldn't say he, allegedly had those documents removed from the internet. At least since I started the channel. Anywho. Rocking. Like a rocking chair. Lucky. Someone could be just taking a break, rocking in a rocking chair. It's relaxing, it's comforting. Maybe some luck is on somebody's side. Maybe they're feeling quite content in their situation. We've got a detour. These all just kind of flipped out. or flipped, or what do you say, they fell down in the container. Then we had a sifter, and then we had gift standing up by itself. I don't know if you guys saw that, but we've got the sifter trying to sift through the detours, maneuvering their way around. And how we were talking about the flour, that's interesting, because usually you'll sift your flour before you use it. Maybe someone didn't sift the flour the first time when we were talking about that scenario with the sidekick. They didn't sift the flour, and so maybe the creator said, maybe I should sift that flour next time. Something's being taken away. Something seems like it's out of this world. And they're letting it slip through their fingers and letting it go. Whatever this illusion is that they think they saw or didn't know if they saw it or not, is now starting a new cycle. 9 and 1 equals 10, sorry. The 10 is learning of a cycle and moving on to a new cycle. And we've got the backing of the dimensional world, taking care of the situation and making things just work out for this innocent one. There's plenty of people talking about this situation. The crow will send its message or share its message through generations. Maybe somebody's ancestors are talking to this individual to wake up and see the truth of what happened, take responsibility of it, and let's just move on. The crows will share the information just so their offspring are aware. Stay away from that person. They're not a nice person. Maybe someone was saying that someone was materialistic, or maybe they're doing it because they are materialistic and they felt like they were being displaced. They were being pushed out of the opportunity that was there, of the wealth, the finances that was there. I know my ex, and I don't know why this is coming up now, maybe because of something I said here, but I had found out that he was dating other people, lots of other people, and one of them had told me, oh yeah, we know about you, but you're not supposed to know about us. Like, huh, that's interesting, right? Why is it that they would know about me, but I'm not allowed to know about them? Because this person was more interested in keeping me around for whatever reason? Like there was a stake in the matter? I don't know. It's unfortunate. Basilisk. A strong odor and has bad breath. A serpent king. A gaze that could kill or petrify. From a small deadly snake to a rooster in medieval legends, focused of bringing the plague outbreak of the 9th century. A shift in human fears from an exaggerated story. So maybe someone's getting scared straight. Someone was trying to push somebody out using fear tactics and finding out this person's actually a shaman or following in the footsteps of a shaman, and now they're being celebrated because they kept it love. People are realizing this person is nothing but love, the victim in this case, that they're an earth angel, and that's been checked by someone who's been watching. Now they're taken off. It's been uncovered. It's been exposed. That this person's a gift. And they just go down searching down the yellow brick road. Off to see the wizard is where their focus is. In my case, the wizard would be the Most High Creator. In someone else's case, it could be, you know, wherever it is that their goals are taking them, wherever they're being led down what path. But we all know, oh, that's not good. I mean, in actuality, the wizard was really just a little person, or a person behind the curtain, right? Behind the veil. And everybody got their gifts that they went on the road to find. And Dorothy made it home. So maybe the whole, you know, fear God, and this is something I've always said, it's like they always have this story that, you know, you need to fear God or be afraid of him, or, you know. But it's not really meant like that. It's kind of meant like, just wait till your father gets home. How mothers used to try to strike fear in a child who's done something wrong, because the father will come home and take care of the matter. Maybe have a sit down conversation, however they deal with that. It's different in every household. I know what biblically it says. Mind you, you're not supposed to do that in a rage. You're not supposed to be angry when you do it. You're supposed to be very understanding, and you're doing it for learning's sake, not because you're so irritated that you've got to deal with this. Just, there's a difference. When you're doing it in irritation or anger, that's abuse. Honestly, I had, when my oldest was not doing what they were supposed to do on repeat, and after repeated conversations, I did try to spank him. And it was quite comical, because he told me later in years, it didn't do anything, Mom. And I remember at the time, I'm like, my arms are not very strong. I can't play tennis because my arms are not the strongest. And so it's like, me doing it was kind of like doing that. Whoopee. But the intent was there, as far as like, you know what, I even asked, are you ready? I mean, so I did give him a little spank. On the behind. In a controlled, respectful, and loving manner. And it's probably why it didn't have any kind of force behind it. But I can tell you, and he played the part, but I can tell you that I never had to do it again. Literally. He was a cute little actor, that one. Anywho, maybe someone's got spiritual gifts for peace. Since all these cards fell off, we've got the peace card here and spiritual protection. My apologies, I can't see the comments because of the way that the camera is set up. I hope one day to be able to interact with people. I don't know where my container is, so I guess I'll just put it back in here. We can go forth Pot of gold is coming out, and the cherry on top. In case you didn't see those on the break. That's exciting. With that rocking horse and lucky. Maybe it's just saying, you know, just relax. This will turn out. I don't know if it's a lucky individual or someone who's just got good karma or just someone who's just a good person and so good things happen. It's usually how it works. Especially now, I think because of the planetary lineup, things are really coming to the surface and being seen for what they are. You can't hide in the dark anymore. Because everything that you do erodes. It shows. You think you're getting away with something, but you're not. It's just the way it's designed to be. It's like you get chance after chance after chance to do the right thing. You only get so many chances. Because as we were saying earlier, there's certain opportunities that are supposed to come out of these decisions that somebody keeps failing. And instead of going for the option that's going to be for their best interest, they keep on sticking to the past and making poor choices. This person also had told me, I know the difference between right and wrong, and I knew it was wrong when I did it. It's like, wow, folks. Why would you do that to yourself? Because your further opportunities is on the right decision, right? The ones that are going to benefit you. I don't know. To each their own. I just got the chills. So I take the ones in the front and I put them back here so I don't know what's in the front. And I do the same with the ones that are in the back. So that way I don't know where's what. And the back of the deck is hours. Hour is the overall energy. Now we can say hour as far as time, or we could take the H off and be silent and we're saying hour as a collective. We've got the deep waves. Could be someone who has deep waves. That takes very persistence and dedication in order to get those deep waves to happen. It's like you have to comb it over and over and over and over, and then you've got to put a certain like scarf on in order to lay them down. Or someone could be pretty just plain deep with their emotions. We've got a hermit, which is the hermit crab card, which is my Cancer card. Could be someone going within. Maybe someone's recognizing their emotions. This is also my PSA card. I should probably make that one a little bit fluorescent. The plastic bottle caps, we have to be mindful because the hermit crabs, or the crabs in general, whoever needs the shells, will put themselves into a plastic bottle cap knowing no difference, and then of course the plastic leaks into their bodies and systems and it causes havoc. They get that whole plastic poisoning. So let's be mindful at the beach. That's all I'm saying. We've got Croc, the crocodile. This is my concealing the evidence card. Coming out of nowhere. Living in the swamp. They go to the depths and then you see them, they all surface. So again, someone could be dealing with their emotions and their feelings at this point. You got the whole kit and caboodle. You've got all the details. You've got all the information that you need. All of it's coming to the surface. Perhaps within the hour, you'll hear about it. I don't know. Maybe this person has spent about an hour going ahead and looking inside themselves. Sitting in that rocking chair. Front of the deck, we have the hawk with his back turned towards you. I always find it interesting, and I say this every time I get this card. And the reason why I made this card is for a long time, the hawks used to be facing my direction as I was driving. I'd see the hawk's face. But then, oddly enough, now every time I come across a hawk, I'll see it and its back is turned towards me. And this is just, it wouldn't be such a big deal if it was just one time that the back of the hawk was there. But every single time I come across a hawk now, the back is towards me. When before, every single time I ever came across a hawk sitting at a light post, he was facing me. So I'm like, there's got to be some kind of message there, right? So with the hawk facing the other direction, it's like my insight was when the hawk is there, it symbolizes wisdom, right? Paying attention, gaining wisdom, something of that nature. When the hawk is faced the other direction with its back towards you, it's like you're no longer needing to look for the wisdom because the wisdom is you. It's inside of you. There's wisdom within. Trusting your gut. Watching someone leave, going, gone, moving on forward, leaving the past behind and trusting a higher perspective, trusting where you're going. The current direction is watched over and supported from above. Release the control. Cute, right? Because he's literally watching people go. And he's watching people come, for that matter, way over there. But, I mean, on the side that I've seen it, he's watching us leave. He's letting us go. He's wishing us well as we drive away. That's my take. Pomegranate. The pomegranate has ties to the Torah, believe it or not. There's the same amount of seeds in the pomegranate as there is in the Torah, which is 613. 248 of them are do's and 365 of them are don'ts. And every, of course, it equals to the 365 days of the calendar. And then the 248 do's connects with the limbs and organs that are within our bodies. Signifies a blessed future, growth, fate, unity, have the faith. So go in faith, right? Maybe you'll find your people. We've got a match. You'll find your match. You'll find the like-minded. All it took was a little bit of friction. It's just the beginning. Long attachment. So you could be finding your significant other, someone that you'll be with for a long time. Candle. Someone to make memories with. Somebody to celebrate birthdays with. Warning label. Someone's lighting the candle. There's a warning here with an attachment. Maybe you're going to feel like there's some kind of warning involved. Milk. Now that could either be the remnants. Milk does a body good. Could be the person who they used to put on the side of milk cartons, figuring they could reach a higher, faster audience. Calculator. Music. Love me not. This love me not little thing that people used to do, I don't know if they still do it, but I know when I was a kid, I would get the flower and I'd take the petals and I'd say, love me not. Love me not. Of course, I was a child, and it's just like, and you're wondering if someone actually loves you or not. And it's like, my mom used to say, in any question, if you have to ask, then you already have your answer. The Most High will always show love, obviously, right? It's not going to be something you have to question. Love is not questionable. Love is obvious. Love is an action word. It's a verb. You don't have to question somebody's motives when they're in the right mindset and they're in the right place. Now, I'm not saying that everyone who you're questioning is like out to, do any harm. Just because you're wondering if they're out to do harm, you have to check yourself as well and see if you're in the right mindset. Are you working from a place of paranoia? Are you working from a place of an unhealed state? So you have to be real and honest with yourself, looking at those deep waves, and go within and bring your own stuff to the surface just as much as the other person. Because if I'm going to bring my ex up in it again, he would always say things that would perplex me, because I'm like, where is that even coming from? It's like, it's just so bizarre. It's like that projection. It's like, have you ever heard that if someone's accusing you of cheating, it's probably because they're cheating themselves? Or if somebody is doing, if someone's assuming that you're doing them wrong, it's probably because they're actually doing you wrong, and it's like they're just telling on themselves. Maybe someone's trying to disappear and they're trying to plan their way to disappear. And if that's the case, folks, if this has to do with a situation that we mentioned in the pre-shuffle, make sure that you are smart about it. If you're in a situation where you're being harmed, I do have in the community tab the DV 800 numbers, safety numbers of that nature. If you're going to make a phone call, make sure you clear your call history. And if you're going to do a web search, clear your web browser history. If you're going to reach out and text these people for support, clear the history. Because people who are like this, they will search through everything, whether you know it or not. And a lot of times people, when they're leaving, is when the damage happens. So maybe someone that you thought that you had a long time relationship with, and it's something that you truly believed in and you thought it was going to go long term, it was just the beginning of the cycle. A lot of times these individuals will put people up on a pedestal, and when that pedestal is not as what they thought it was going to be, and you're not this perfect person, because in their mind they're thinking you're perfect, they're actually just trying to work through stuff from their parent. And when you fall short of their perfection that they thought you were, it's very disruptive to them. So anywho, if there is someone out who is trying to make a calculated effort to leave, make sure that you're clearing the history. Don't leave any remnants behind of what you were doing to research. Now, if this is an individual who's up to no good, well, oopsie. Maybe I shouldn't have mentioned. There's a warning label to the candles that are lit. To the light that is shown, to the illumination that one may cause. Be mindful of your surroundings. I know it's going on a lot in my area, and I've seen posts about it happening in other areas about people who are out shopping, doing errands, minding their own business. And there are tactics that people use in order to try to lure people or distract people or utilize people for whatever it is that they're trying to utilize them for. Don't take gifts from strangers. I think I may have taken a book from somebody who it could have had some kind of properties on it. There could be some kind of candle magic attached to it. Be forewarned. Be mindful of your drinks. Maybe somebody's body doesn't go well with milk or dairy, and you're taking a calculated risk anytime that you consume it. Be mindful of the music. Someone could have some kind of calculated influence in the music industry. Well, if you loved me, then you would. Or if you want this job, or if you want this contract, then you would, you know. It's a long consideration whether you're loved or not loved. People can probably coming under the realization that they really were not loved, that that is not what love is. And now they're being made aware that no, that was not love, that was control. That was a calculated song and dance to get you into the position and thought and process of where they wanted you to be in order for them to capitalize on it in some kind of way. Whether it be financially, psychologically, whatnot. See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil, turning a blind eye. I know there's a lot of stuff that was going on that I was sharing with a neighbor of mine, and I was telling this person about all the things that I had endured or noticed or come across. And this person was like, don't talk about that, because the more you talk about it, the more it's going to show up on your doorstep. Oh, really? So what do? You just act like it never happened and just pretend like, you know. And I'm in my mind, I'm thinking that's how it perpetuates. That's how it keeps going on, by people not seeing it, by people not acting like they didn't hear it, or people acting like they, you know, it didn't happen. They turned a blind eye to that. Just like those cockroaches. Yeah, you're not the person that did it, but you're the person that said something happened. You see the difference? Or the similarities on opposite sides of the coin? Number 13, Divine Feminine. I find it interesting that literally the number 13 is the Divine Feminine, and it's supposed to be such a bad number. Don't go to the 13th floor or Friday the 13th. It has such bad connotation to it. 3 and the 1 makes a 4, which is stability, a stable foundation, the divine in feminine form. Somebody's not wanting someone to say something about something. They want someone not to see a certain situation that's been illuminated. Briefs. This could be legal briefs. Maybe they're asking this divine feminine to be modest. full coverage kind of thing. Maybe the divine feminine has full coverage in this situation. Or someone could be saying that this person, divine feminine, only appears to be that way briefly. We have an angelfish, a flat top, spiritual number of 7 with the snake skin behind it, spiritual fulfillment, divine cycle, signifies the seeker's wisdom, introspection, philosopher, analyst, search for hidden truth. Perfection, as we were talking about. In partnership, 7th. Oh, the life path 7, I believe, is the house of partnerships, marriage. It's a day of rest also, folks. Did you know the day of rest is actually Saturday? Because Saturday's actually the real 7th day. Just saying. We have the number 5. Someone could be 75. Someone could have been born in 75. Could be the hours of 7 to 5. Maybe the hours from 7 p.m. to 5 a.m. or 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. I do not know. That is somebody's work day though, right? Manticore, a terrifying beast. So maybe they're trying to say that somebody, it's very clear, that someone's an angel up until 7 o'clock, but after 5, they become a terrifying beast. Excuse me. Did you know you're not supposed to say thank you when someone says bless you? I didn't know that. Somehow it takes away the blessing. I don't know. And there's thank you up there. We've got skeletons in the closet. Somebody's a terrible beast. That's the skeletons they hold in their closet. And this is the thing that happens after 5 o'clock. Once they get home, they're terrifying. We've got a pest. Someone's being pestered and annoyed by that. Maybe it's a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde situation. Where when they're at work all day long, they're this sweet, charming person. And usually when we were talking about this whole situation prior to, that's how they are. The people who put people on a pedestal, they're Mr. Charming. Everyone thinks they could do no wrong. Oh, that so-and-so, that person's so wonderful. Oftentimes people will look at the other person and be like, you're so lucky to have that person. They're usually the first person to help, like, their friends out. They probably they go to church maybe every week. But behind closed doors, they're a totally different person. Someone's evolving, the butterfly. Maybe this person who is like this, maybe my ex is evolving. Who knows? But that's between him and the Most High. We've got a monster. Or maybe they're just becoming a better monster. Whoever this is with the flat top, maybe they're becoming a monster, or maybe they are a monster. Let's see what else is going on here. We've got a barn or a farm. Maybe it's a big farm or a big barn. I didn't know if I wanted to put a barn or a farm. Vampire bat, being able to see in the dark. In the Chinese culture, it's a symbol of extreme good fortune, happiness, and longevity. long life, using intuition and sensitivity, highly social, trust your voice and instincts. 5 is also the change card, and it's the center card of the entire spread. Change is the center of the spread. There's a change happening. Hopefully within the hour. Wouldn't that be great? We've got fluff and fold, trying to clean something up. It's also my Gemini card. The candle and the match could be seen as a fire sign. We could have an air sign because you need air to make fire from the candle. And then we've got the butterfly down here that flies in the air. Fluff and fold. Someone could have some kind of other business in order to conceal some kind of operations. The fluff and fold is 2 machines that have different purposes, so that's why I made it my Gemini card. We have an umbrella. Being protected from the elements. Could be working with some kind of umbrella corporation or company. Someone who oversees something. Someone could literally be crying. We've got the water of the fluff and fold, and the water of the rain, and the water of the croc. And we had a house that was kind of upside down. Red Rover, someone's trying to bring this house right over. Maybe they're trying to evolve their story. Maybe they're trying to get more people on their team from a hotel. They created a monster at this hotel. Whoever this flat top wearer is. He kind of looks like a, a policeman to me. Orca. At this hotel, maybe someone discovered a laptop or some kind of electronic device regarding the farm, whatever information was on it about the farm. That was left to someone, maybe it's even a ranch. Was left to someone by a divine masculine. A female puts the eggs into the male seahorse. The seahorse produces it and lets it go whenever it's time. So there could be somebody in a place of authority who created a huge situation at a hotel who's in charge of or is holding on to something that belongs to somebody that someone has some kind of intuition about. This person is a ruler. This person is a CEO. This person is a head of a team. This person is very calculated. This person is making plans, taking measure. I'm hearing just doing my job. We've got a rainbow. Promises, promises. There is a promise at the end of the rainbow. The rainbow was a promise saying that he would never flood the world again. Apparently, the next time anything destructive comes, it's going to be through fire. Opportunity. This card's about a bird that was flying above the trees, and they had a little opportunity here left in the middle of the road. Something that was left behind by somebody else was supposed to be picked up by the bird. but he was looking the other direction. And I came back around and this was still in the road and he had missed the opportunity. He smelled the opportunity, but he couldn't find it because the trees were in the way. And you know, every time I look at this card, it's his head is actually over here, but it looks like his tail and his head's here. I could probably make his head turning the other way there and make that his tail since that's the way I keep seeing it and put some feet in there. I don't know. It seems like every card has something a little bit wonky on it. That must be my signature. But there'll be some kind of promised opportunity or something. Make sure you find it. Keep an eye on it so you don't miss that opportunity. Something to do with the emotions and erosion of the emotions. And we had that hiding the emotions over there in the deep waves of the emotions. Somebody's in and out. It's also a beautiful sight, those waterfalls, right? Comma, take a break, take a pause. Maybe go visit, take a hike to a waterfall somewhere. Stay hydrated though. And be mindful of your surroundings. We've got the little bird coming back. So maybe it's a friend who's telling you about this opportunity. Golly, with the black eye again. Gnats and flies. With the pests, we've got 2 cards of pests and it's coming out right next to it. Monitoring spirits. Someone's definitely being monitored. Body art. Somebody wears their emotions on their sleeves. They tell their beliefs. They have no issue with sharing their beliefs. Maybe somebody's going to have tattoos or piercings. Golden bracelets, things that are sentimental to them. My sisters and I all got a golden bracelet from my mom. I wear mine. I don't know if they wear theirs. But I know I wear mine because it's sentimental to me because it was my mom's. It would have been nice to be able to have them and wear them and not have it stuck in a drawer somewhere like maybe they have, but that's not my business, right? Whatever. We all have our sentiment in different ways, and just because I decide to wear my sentiment doesn't mean that everyone needs to. And it doesn't mean that because they're not wearing their sentiment, it doesn't mean that they don't have it. So I guess we shouldn't judge people by the way that they come across or how they appear to be, because people with tattoos for a long time, people thought that they were just, you know, when they're actually all different kinds of people. Different views on tattoos for sure. Like, why would you destroy God's temple that he gave you by putting a tattoo or a mark on it? Well, because some people think it's beautiful. And some people think not so much. Like, we all have preferences. Somehow, some tattoos look very, like, just dirty and grungy, where others, it's very accepted in its artwork. I have tattoos myself. I think all but 2 of them are my own. Oh, no, I guess not. Only one. I only have one of my own artwork on myself. And it didn't come out the way I had wanted, but oh well. You live and you learn. All right, folks, with that being said, something sentimental to somebody or something is of great value to somebody. Maybe the way someone is authentic and they do wear their heart on their sleeve, that's of value. Someone finds sentiment or something with that, regardless if they're monitoring spirit, they're still seeing it. Maybe someone's getting flack or slack for that. So maybe they're going to take a break from their own emotions eroding their own lives and see things for as clear as day as what they are. Wouldn't that be great? My only hope is that somebody will be able to enrich and evolve their life based on something that I have said, just to make their lives better. We were meant to live a life that is good. We're supposed to be living in a land of Eden. That was the intention. God wanted his own family. The Most High Creator wanted a family. He was, creating in order to have a paradise. And he gave us a choice whether we wanted to stay in the paradise or not. And of course, everything escalated from there, but it was his intention to have Eden on earth. And it's up to the people who live on earth to create it to be Eden if that's what they want. So if everybody does their part and does their own laundry, perhaps that's where the change will be. We can get rid of these situations that want to create people, maybe their sifted flour wasn't sifted right, but it doesn't mean that they have to permanently be that way. They're just as valid and just as valuable as the person whose flour wasn't sifted that way. Maybe someone needs just to take a break at a hotel and relax a while. I don't know, but there's still that discovery, so there's something about a police officer in a hotel trying to get people on their team. Maybe they have some kind of documentation or information that belongs to someone and they're holding on to it until they see fit. They're trying to measure the time of which they can go ahead and release this information so it can reflect on them in a good opportunity or in a good light regarding some kind of house or stability. Anywho, thank you for being here. I do appreciate your time and efforts on staying with the story. I know sometimes they can get long and they're kind of repetitive, previous. Soap. Yes, soap was a missing card from before. With that being said, folks, thanks for your comments. Thanks for your likes. Thanks for everything. Thanks for subscribing. I appreciate you. Take care and make it a great day. Bye.